Today we are going to be looking at modelling a blobfish using some different tools that we haven't used before. To start with, you want to set yourself up a sphere. Just a nice, normal, unobtrusive sphere. And then what you're going to do is make sure your sphere is selected. I've got this selected now. And then on the bar at the bottom here, you're going to go to Modeling and Polygon Modeling. If you can't see this bar, right click on the side and turn the ribbon on. So right click up where your main toolbar is across the top here and turn ribbon on. Okay, so if it's not there, that's what you're looking for. That will bring this up. Now you can view the collapsed form, which is what I've got here, or if you find it easier, you can view it a bit like what you have in Word, where you have it opened out. At the moment, there's not much showing on that anyway, but I find with my screen that takes up too much space out of the space that I have available, so I usually have it in the collapsed view. So you want to go to Polygon Modeling. That's the only option that you'll have on this modeling tab at the minute. And you want to convert to a poly. And you'll notice that the editable poly will come up on the modifier list over here. Now, the bit that we want to use next is this freeform option next to where it says modeling. And in there, you've got something called Paint Deform. When you hover over each of these, it will load a video showing what actually happens on the versions that you guys have. It's not loading them on this one, but this is the previous version to what you guys are using. It will load a video when you hover over. Okay? So we're going to select the push-pull, which is going to allow us to pull out a section of our sphere. Now I'm going to turn, when you do this, you're going to want a reasonably big circle to start with, because we're going to start modelling with a tail or a blobfish. So you're going to want to turn it up. Now you can click the arrow keys, you can click and drag, it will just rotate its way around the screen and keep going until you get something that's probably about that size in relation to your sphere. So depending on what size you've made your sphere will depend on what size your brush will come up as. Then you just click and move the mouse over the area that you want to pull out, making sure that you get all sides of it to actually come out. And then you can stop and go again and just bring it up until you have something that resembles that sort of shape, really. I'm just going to bring this out slightly underneath here and just pull it out a bit longer. Now, what you'll notice is where we've just done that, the polygons that we have all gotten bigger, which is fine in and of itself. However, what it does mean is it does make it harder to do any further alterations. So for this, you need to go back into your Paint Deform, click the push-pull off. It doesn't deselect when you click on something else automatically, you have to click it off. Select the polygons and turn your model so that you're looking at it side on. Click and drag over this tail section so it selects like that. Clicking and dragging over it should select the back, the top and the bottom. And then in the modeling tab again on our ribbon, you can use Mesh Smooth by subdividing which subdivides shapes around off corners and edges, or you can use the Tessellate, which subdivides the polygon based on settings that are already set. So you can use either of those. I should go for Tessellate, and you just put in some additional polygons to work with. So you've now got smooth mesh around this bit, you've got a more complex mesh over on this bit here that you're editing. Go back to your freeform and your Paint Deform, grab your push-pull, and you're going to want to turn the size down again now. So let's go back down to probably about 20-ish. There we go. So that's a lot smaller. Now, tails on blobfish aren't really much of anything to write home about, so I'm just going to pull this up a little bit on this bit. I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to pull this out so it sort of looks like a fish's tail going on at the end, sort of, kind of. Now I'm just going to grab this bit, pull this bit out so it doesn't look quite so bizarre. So there's a tail shape set. Now blobfish have a tiny little dorsal fin, so we're just going to hope that it doesn't stall on us. And add a tiny little dorsal fin along the back here. If it's coming out too strong when you're doing it, you can turn the strength down. So I'm going to turn this strength down. The little toolbar will come up. It might blend slightly more than this on the version that you guys are using, but the same settings will still be there. So there's our little dorsal fin. Let's just bring this bit up as well so it matches in. So we've now got a dorsal fin. We've now got our tail and our tail fins in there. We need some little pathetic fins coming off here. So turning the strength back up to 1. And I'm just going to put the size up to probably about 30 something. And then just literally pull them out. Turn the size down a bit if you need to. Just pull it out a little bit further. So it sticks out like a tiny little fin coming out the side. They're kind of useless, so blobfish don't really swim particularly. They kind of float and wait for food to come to them. And I've got the feeling I've just picked up the wrong bit, so let's just go back. Always helpful to turn so you can see exactly where you're editing when you're doing this. Again, if you want more control over these elements, put more polys into your shape. Now, where is that picking up? So I'm just going to come around here and make this one a bit longer so it matches the other one a bit more. There we go. We've done a bit of a weird squiffy angle, but hey, never mind. And last bit of modelling with this tool is we're just going to pull out this bit here and give him a nice big round nose going on there. Now that's quite chunky, and that's come out quite chunky, especially where we pulled it out. So I'm going to go and into my freeform, take that off. I'm just going to select all of my blobfish. Make sure I've picked them all up. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to go back into modelling. I'm going to go subdivision. This time I'm going to smooth the mesh, which will round him off and smooth him off quite nicely for me. Because they're not very pointy blobfish, so I'm going to use mesh smooth for this. Again, you could use tessellate, but that has now given me, go away, there we go. That has now given me a much smoother mesh to work with. For that, we have a nose, we have something that vaguely resembles a dorsal fin, we have a tail going on. So all we're missing now really is a couple of small eyes. And really we should have a big ugly mouth underneath as well. So let's put some eyes in. The eyes are nice and straightforward. We're going to want a sphere. You're going to want it quite small. And then we're just going to grab this sphere and we're going to move it up. And we're going to move it back that way, over a little bit. Let's have a look from a different view. There we go. Let's get both of these so I can move it X and Y at the same time. That's probably about the full size of a blobfish eye. Might need to come that way and out a little bit more because they're a bit of a weird placement. Right click and clone. And click and clone. Thank you. Want to do a copy. There we go. Going to move it across and move it forward so it comes out just that tiny little bit. So now we have two very small eyes. And for the mouth, what we can actually use is if we get our main fish shape back, we can use a pinch and spread deform. And let's drop the size down quite a bit because we don't want it. We don't want a massive mouth. Blobfish usually have really sad looking mouths. Let's turn the strength up so we've got a bit more to work with. And we're just going to pinch this together around here. Bring it in. And that should provide a nice shadow for us. Now let's just deselect off so you can see it's distorted there for the mouth. We could spend a lot more time modelling the mouth. You guys can spend more time modelling the mouth, definitely. And let's just move him around. So at the minute our blobfish is looking, a little bit grey. So you've used the material editor before. You should have seen it in the Minions tutorial that I left for you guys to look at. Materials editor, when you open it, if you haven't opened it up before, you will need to go to modes, change it from slate to compact. The view that you get is different to this because you're using a newer version. The principles and the bits that you're looking for are pretty much the same. So you'll still want a blank material, which is what this one is over here. And then in the colour, you'll still be looking for a diffuse. I'll still say diffuse. And you'll change the colour of the diffuse to probably about that shade of pink, thereabouts. So that will change the colour. So you're still looking for the diffuse colour for the materials parameter. You're also going to look for reflectivity and glossiness. So reflectivity, I'm going to turn that right up, and you can see that's quite shiny. Glossiness, I'm going to turn the glossiness down. It might be the other way around for the glossiness on yours. Let's just actually turn that about there. That's just going to give us a shiny sort of object, really. And we're going to click that and drag it over onto our first sphere, which we have now completely deformed, so it looks nothing like a sphere. And just drop it onto the blobfish. And there we have our blobfish all lit up. Don't worry about the black lines on it. They should disappear on the render. You'll also need to set a diffuse colour to black. Let's just have that up there. Reflectivity, turn that right up. Glossiness, that wants to be right up as well. And that should give you a black that you can apply to sphere 3 for the first eye and sphere 2 for the second eye. And that's a blobfish. And he will just swim around, render him out. Rendering shouldn't take too long with this. And there he is. So remember, your render is your little teapot, last teapot. Your save is this save image here. Change it to the place where you want to save it. Give it a name and select either the JPEG or PNG format for the best image and compression. Once you've done that, upload to Moodle into the submission slot. Okay, so that is how to make a blobfish. Good luck. I look forward to seeing your fish.